A new government report on the U.S.'s chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan lays much of the blame on decisions made during the Trump administration.
The White House did admit it should have started withdrawing troops sooner, but took little responsibility for executing what was a messy and deadly exit. They said the Trump administration's deal with the Taliban severely constrained Biden's choices.
We are joined now by retired Army Colonel Gerald Faunt, a veteran with years of experience in the Arabian Peninsula and specifically Afghanistan, most recently serving as the executive officer to the Deputy Commanding General of Operations in Afghanistan. So you're very familiar with this entire area and this withdrawal, which was indeed chaotic. What are your reactions to the report initially?
Well, thank you for having me. Breakdown of the reactions to the report is it seems it's diametrically opposed to the report that was initiated by U.S. Central Command. The officer who actually conducted that investigation has been public already and stating what were the issues and where the planning problems were. Just from the very beginning, doctrinally, you start with the non-combatant evacuation operation, a NEO first, and that's run by the Department of State, which is supported by the Department of Defense. It's very difficult for DOD to support a NEO when they're not there, and that's why we had to insert forces back in. Now you're starting to make compromised decisions operationally about where you do that, and it was selected to be Hamid Karzai International Airport, which is right in the city. Had it been done earlier and the NEO been coordinated with U.S. forces still in Afghanistan, with Bagram Air Base still being held, that's out more in farm country, and it's only 25 miles to the north. It could have been much more orderly.
You mentioned the airport. That's when we saw those images of people swarming airplanes and such, right?
That's correct. And one of the disappointing things is that John Kirby, who is the National Security Council spokesperson, he was very vehement that he didn't see any chaos. Well, I leave it up to the American people to judge for themselves based upon the images that they saw. As a veteran, it was an absolute debacle. I mean, it was heartbreaking, especially I'm in good company with a lot of leaders out there who actually lost soldiers in Afghanistan. And for us to withdraw, basically, which could be almost a retreat, was heartbreaking.
With your expertise, your opinion here, who's really to blame for what went down here?
Well, firstly, and it's the same thing with the Obama administration when we said that after the surge we were going to reduce forces and be done. You never want to telegraph your timeline. I mean, right away you've given up the strategic initiative. So really, telegraphing that we were going to be out is really on the previous administration. But right now, the conduct of that evacuation lies with the current administration very clearly. They had ample time to properly plan that operation. So time it out with the NEO and the withdrawal. Very clear.
Some people would say we should have stayed longer in Afghanistan. Others would say you can't just stay there forever. Did you have an opinion on that at the time?
Well, when you look at it, it was, by the time we were getting ready to withdraw, there were only 2,500 soldiers there. Now, you could look at it as a strategic economy of force. What I mean by that is you have a small force here that's stabilizing while strategically your attention is elsewhere. For having an investment of 2,500 soldiers in Afghanistan, and the previous soldier that had been lost was 18 months prior, it seemed that it was at least fairly stabilized. And you have to also understand that 20 of the 95 recognized violent extremist organizations in the world call the AFPAC area home. So having our pulse by being in Afghanistan as a counterterrorism platform was very optimal strategically.
We saw so many people trying to get out at the time with the American troops. What are the remaining issues in Afghanistan? Is number one the Taliban?
Well, the Taliban's in power right now. You can see the humanitarian assistance disaster and crisis that's ongoing, but there are still U.S. citizens that are stuck in the country. There are still many Afghan partners who would like to come to the U.S. I mean, these are people who fought alongside of our troops that shed their blood and their treasure, and they deserve better.
Before we move on to a different topic, just to wrap this one up, what is this state? We have heard in recent months statements from the Taliban, like you would hear from another government, a very legitimate government. Is that the future you foresee, just the Taliban remaining in power and being legitimized even?
I don't see that we have any political will that would overthrow the Taliban at this time.
And so what's the answer?
What's the answer? They're in power, and we have to learn how to deal with that.
All right, let's move on to Yemen. Potential end to this 8-year-long civil war. For people who haven't been following that situation, break down what has just changed in the last week and where this could be headed.
All right. This is interesting because Yemen has been problematic since the fall of the Ottoman Empire. But recently, the Houthi-backed the Iranian-backed Houthi forces overthrew the government in 2014 out of Sana'a. Since then, the Saudis have been supporting former government elements in their fight against the Houthis. So now when you see that China seems to have influenced a revisit of diplomatic relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran, you have to ask yourself the question, even though Oman's been trying to broker this for years, that have they pulled some strings on, say, Iran to reduce the hard line? Is it the fact that the Saudis are becoming more aware that the influence of China is drifting to the west? They've been really working their way through the Indian Ocean to the west, further towards the Middle East. So are they coming to the realization that perhaps they need to change their behavior also?
The odds, in your opinion, of a compromise, some sort of peace agreement here, you would say is what?
Well, you know, when you get down to a ceasefire, it is a political action, but it's also technically about the tactics and operations on the ground. Things can always go badly. There could be miscalculations and missteps, but it seems that this could be a paradigm changer about U.S. power in the region.
All right, and quickly, stability in the region overall, if that is successful?
Well, that's the one big problem on the Arabian Peninsula right now.
Yeah.
So that would be a game changer.
All right. Retired Army Colonel Gerald Faunt, thank you so much for being here, Jerry. We always appreciate your expertise.
Thank you very much.